Thank you for clicking on the video. If you're above the age of 16, please ignore this and continue on into the reaction. However, due to my diction, the nature of the content that I sometimes cover, and COPPA regulations, I hereby ask that any viewer who is under the age of 16 to click off the video and wait until you have reached this age benchmark to return and continue watching. You have been warned. Additional information may be found in the description of this video. Enjoy. What's up, Twitchlets? My name is Mr. Twitchy. You can just call me Twitchy if you want. Today I'm back with my second One Piece review video. This time I'll be covering episodes 11 through 20. Set of 10 started off great, had a bit of a lull in the middle, and then ended with a few outstanding ones. That quick preview out of the way, let's not waste any more time, get right into it. Alright, so episode 11, starting off with an S-tier certified Twitchy seal of approval episode. Really good. I don't have a lot of screenshots for this episode in particular, but let's get right into them. The first one that I have is Kaya telling Usopp, "I love the lies that you told." And then later on in the conversation, she tells him that he's pathetic. Usopp, realizing that his lies have consequences, turns away from Kaya as he's crying and runs off into the sunset. Really loved the use of color in this episode, especially for the sunsets in the sky and then also for the character's skin. Oh, and before Usopp left, Kaya saying, "I never thought you'd lie to hurt someone." Ugh, that's rough. Okay, and now it's nighttime. Usopp is kind of in the bay of the island talking with Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. Him saying, "They were never gonna believe me from the start. I was too optimistic." Usopp saying, "That's why I'm gonna stop the pirates at the beach tomorrow and make sure that remains a lie." Then he says, "I love this village. I want to protect everyone," with tears in his eyes. That motivates our trio to then help him with the action pose saying, "Alright, we'll help you out." Luffy holding his shoulder, Nami with the penny pinching sign, I guess, and then Zoro with his three swords. Again, I really love the coloring that they did for the sky in this episode. They kind of got a blood moon going on. And then the last screenshot that I have for this episode is Usopp saying, "Of course I'm scared. What's wrong with that?" Love that line. Great way to end the episode. And that's the end of episode 11 as they prepare for the pirate invasion. Episode 12, starting off with the comical screenshot that I have of the trio that we've been following holding Usopp in a headlock, telling them, "You're gonna fight." Him trying to get out of it because of his cowardice. That was pretty good. Plahadore stomping on the glasses that were a special present from Kaya-san. If I didn't already know he was up to no good because of the previous episodes, that definitely would have been an indicator. And then his weapon being like animal claws on the end of a glove? Weird, but I like it. One of the random panels that I have is after he sliced up Kaya's assistant. The architecture for the hallway looks like it's twisted and warped. Whoever the architect was deserves to be fired. Django saying, "My policy is to say good morning with the morning sun." I'm more of a night owl myself, but I can appreciate that. One of the strangest things about this episode, or at least anything that I've seen up until this point, is one of the crewmates for the Black Cats. The back of his head, it looks like a face, but that's just the way that he's cut his hair. It's so weird. Alright, and then Nami holding on to Zoro as they have the oil down the ramp to get into the village. Usopp somehow being the first one to make it over to the cove because Luffy ran north, so he ran in a coldish direction. Somebody get this boy a map. Django trying out his hypnotism to try to allow Usopp to let them pass, but he always hypnotizes himself somehow. I find that to be a pretty funny gag. Nami saying, "That boat's treasure is mine. I won't let you have a single berry." After I finished watching that episode, that specific line got me thinking 100 miles an hour. The next theory that I have is the fact that the coins of the world are called berries is significant. Coins and paper money are given real-world value because of the gold backing them, which is owned by the government. And additionally, all berries are fruits, but not all fruit are berries. Devil fruits, berries. The government of this world values devil fruits over gold because of the supernatural powers derived from them. Case in point, the 100 million berries for a single devil fruit. The One Piece, if it is an actual thing and not just a folklore, I'm thinking might be a tree that grows devil fruits on it. Furthermore, I think that the government might have a monopoly on it, a potentially singular devil fruit producing tree, and that Rogers found out about it. Before he was executed, in order to get back at the Navy, he told everyone, go into the Grand Line and try to find the One Piece, when he didn't actually have the One Piece at all. But getting back to the screenshots, I have Zoro trying to run up the oil-slicked slope, unsuccessfully using his swords to climb up it. Nami somehow scattering the caltrops behind them so they can't retreat. What are you doing? And then just as Usopp's about to be taken out, you have Zoro and Luffy coming in for the save. And that's the end of episode 12 with the duo showing up to save the day. Hopefully. Episode 13, the first battle episode of this little mini arc that we got going on. The first screenshot that I have is Zoro saying, we'll handle this, as he holds one of the swords menacingly in front of his body. Somehow Luffy got hypnotized too. He hasn't learned his lesson with Django apparently. Luffy charging all the way down the slope, past all the Black Cat crewmates, picking up the stern of the ship and then slamming it back down, Macho Man Randy Savage style. Goodness. Kaya-san finding Mary on the ground bleeding out. Somehow he's still alive. I don't know how. It looked like Klahadore killed him. Kaya-san with the cold sweat on her body as she realizes that Usopp wasn't lying this time. Shocker. And Kaya thinking she can somehow talk things over with Klahadore? That's not reasonable. Oh goodness. Here comes my least favorite characters, I think, to date in One Piece. The Meowban brothers. I hate their designs. I hate the way that they talk. I hate their powers. Everything about them is just, disgusting. Get them out of my face. And then the fact that they took two of Zoro's swords, seemingly reducing his battle competency? That's interesting. You would think if you have one sword to concentrate on, you might be able to inflict more damage, but I don't know if he uses them primarily in an attacking form or more of in a defensive position with them around his body. That's just something we'll find out later as we see Zoro fight more. And that's the end of the episode with Zoro trying to fight off the Meowban brothers. Not gonna lie, when I first watched this episode, I actually took a break from One Piece for a couple of weeks. It was that bad of an episode. But with that being said, let's get on to episode 14. Alright, so episode 14. I'm kind of upset that I took a break when I did, because if I would have just continued on, I would have got some great shots, and this episode specifically would have redeemed the previous episode a bit in my mind, but that's all in hindsight. The first screenshot that I have is Klahadore pushing up his glasses with the bottom of his palm so that he doesn't scratch them or cut his face with his blades. It's so odd, but it's so One Piece. I kind of like it. Zoro finally getting his three swords back from the Meowban brothers and unleashing a tiger attack. Yeah, so right here it says what happens when he's powered up, referring to the three sword style as opposed to the one or the two sword style. Nami laying on the ground as she got cut by Django's projectile discus, and she's saying, try hard for my treasure. The character motivations that Oda put in so far in advance, where we don't even get her backstory until about episode 40-ish, really, really good. Luffy finally waking up from his hypnotism, looking badass as the sun shines down behind him. Kaya-san tearing up as she told Usopp to run away. Ooh, and then like the complete terrified face of Kaya-san as Klahadore reveals his real intentions. An excellent shot with his glasses where they reflect the ground in front of him as he stares down Kaya-san. Ooh, Kaya-san's got a gun now. She's pointing it at him. Okay. Him taking off the glove to try to play feeble. I'm not falling for it, but I know that she does. Ooh, another great screenshot. Close up on his eyes. It's shaded out behind him. Him saying, yes, it was all so I could kill you today. Ugh. Enraged Usopp has entered the chat, but he's not so good at close combat, so Klahadore easily gets the upper hand. Or paw. Yeah, I said it. And then just before Usopp is hit, Luffy comes in with a super stretchy punch. The shading in that shot is excellent as well. And then to end the episode, Luffy saying, if you hate getting hit that much, I got 100 more punches for you. Unfortunately, I know of one of his attacks in the future called Triple G, but I'm sure it's still going to be excellent by the time that I get to it. That ends episode 14. Episode 15, the tale of two plot lines. The first half, we got the little boys smacking up Django with shovels and salt shakers alike. But salt shakers aren't going to do a lot versus a man with blades on the end of his fingers. Zoro being badass as ever, saying, stop. I can't let you pass. Usopp with the shot while he's on his back. Ooh, angry Luffy is scary. The panel that I have specifically saved here is him saying, what's so funny? And then Zoro carrying Usopp as his back as they go after Django, leaving Luffy to fight Klahadore. I love the line where Luffy says, I'll stay behind, because there's a man in this village I don't want to let die. Captain doing captain things. Interesting. So Klahadore is saying, this is a plan so that I can be completely rid of the name Captain Kuro. And then we actually get some backstory on him, interesting enough. Him saying, I'm going to kill myself for all to see. I wasn't quite sure what he meant by that when he first said it. But then we get the reveal that Captain Morgan with the broken jaw, like the Deku face mask, was actually the Marine officer who was injured so badly that they hypnotized him and the crewmate so that Captain Kuro could actually be captured and then executed. Really clever. Also, Django's hypnotism is super powerful. So coming out of the flashback, we have Luffy saying, you're not fit to be a pirate if having a name on the seas scares you. Badass, Luffy. Well done. Luffy saying, my ambition is much greater than yours. That reminds me of the Pain quote where he says, my pain is much greater than yours. And apparently that's how the episode ends. Right on a cliffhanger. Episode 16. I did love this episode, but not enough for an S tier ranking, in my opinion. The reason being is because of the fact that they split the episode up into the two different fights rather than having one fight conclude and then moving on to the next fight in the next episode. But there were some awesome shots in here. Speaking of awesome shots, the first screenshot that I have is when Kuro is saying, I'll come exterminate every one of you later, talking to his Black Cat crewmates. And you just see like 4 or 5 different Captain Kuros reflected in each of the broken blades that came off of one of his gloves. Phenomenal. Huh. Captain Kuro saying, pirate groups are nothing more than a collection of social outcasts. If that doesn't fit the shonen model, I don't know what does. Luffy saying, you'll never be better than Usopp. You'll love to see it. Captain Kuro asking, how is that? And Luffy responding, character. I love the one-line responses, just in general for any kind of media. Really puts the emphasis behind each syllable. Luffy then continuing to fight while continuing to shit talk, saying, you don't know what a true pirate is. Which I think is also one of the themes in One Piece, what a true pirate is, just as in My Hero, what is a true hero. Just something that I'm thinking about in the background. He's planning to use the out of the back attack. Okay. Ooh, this shot with Captain Kuro to where you don't see any pupils in his eyes, and it's kind of like a gray to white gradient. Wow, that is menacing. His crewmates continuing to explain the attack, saying, because of his speed, not even he knows what he's cutting. Doesn't make sense, but I'll roll with it. And speaking of rolling with it, Luffy then catches him and says, found you. How? Oh, another good shot is where Captain Kuro's holding all 5 blades, and it's right in front of Luffy's eyes, similar to a certain scene in Vinland Saga, if you've seen it. Django tripping over a rope that the kids have set up. Pepper attack into the nut shot with a frying pan. Brutal. And Kaya-san holding the gun to her own head, willing to take her own life in order to stop their plan. Django saying, I might not look like it, but I'm known for being an honest man. They say there's no honor amongst thieves, but is there honor amongst pirates? Is this the shonen? Both of those are yes. As Zoro's carrying Usopp, Usopp slapping Zoro on the chest where he got cut. Stop it, Usopp, you're not helping. And to end the episode, last screenshot that I have is Zoro saying, "That's far enough, hypno freak," which isn't a great insult, but you know, Zoro's more known for fighting than talking. Episode 17 and the S tier certified Twitchy seal of approval starts. Kuro asking if Luffy is tired, and then Luffy immediately wraps around him like a grass-type Pokemon. Tangela, I'm looking at you. Before Luffy gives Captain Kuro the headbutt of death, he screams to the crewmates cheering him on, "You guys have no right to cheer me on. Gong!" After he's knocked him out, Luffy then says, "I never lose to a pirate who ditches his name and runs from the sea." He is very serious in this screenshot. We don't know a lot about Luffy's backstory. We know he ate the Gum Gum fruit, trained for 10 years with his stretching powers, and then became a pirate. But we don't know anything about those 10 years. Luffy then continuing on saying, "The only time a pirate should abandon his name is when he dies." Again, I'm wondering if this is foreshadowing for his eventual backstory reveal. Well done, Nami, catching him just before he passes out. Nami talking with Luffy after the fight is over and he wakes up, saying, "Captain Kuro's much more standard than you," referring to pirates, which, given her backstory with Arlong, I don't blame her for saying that whatsoever. Usopp finally catching up with Kaya-san, saying, "There's no need to scare everyone with something that's already over. I'm just going to pretend that nothing ever happened." Usopp, you've got a good heart, my boy. Oh, and the townspeople actually wait for Usopp to come running through the town each and every day. That hit right in the feels. A little girl asking, "Is the liar guy not coming today?" Adorable. And then the old man with the broom, just with the bulging vein on his forehead, angry that Usopp hasn't ran through town today. Usopp saying goodbye to his 3 crewmates for the Usopp Pirates was pretty tough to watch. But all good things must come to an end, and their time together is now ending, but that allows them to then go forth and pursue their dreams, which is good. Usopp with tears in his eyes saying, "Then swear here that you'll continue on each of your paths, and never let the fires of your ambitions go out." Great life advice, Usopp. Kaya-san seemingly feeling better. Might be psychosomatic after a certain point, but I won't deny that she wasn't sick at all. She's saying that she has a present for him. I know what's coming up. But before we get to that, Usopp with the Warner Brothers type of exit from his house, where the house literally moves as he's trying to take out a knapsack that's 3 or 4 times his size. And the Going Merry has finally showed up. It's better than traveling around that rinky-dinky boat that they have. When Usopp finally stops rolling down the slope, he meets up with the trio that we have. Him saying, "I'm gonna be a pirate too, so we'll meet on the high seas eventually." And then when Zoro responds, "What are you talking about? Get on already." My heart! The crew is growing before our very eyes. You love to see it. Luffy saying, "We're friends now, aren't we?" Aren't we? And then Usopp saying, "I get to be the captain, right?" I love the cheeriness of this group. Oh. And then the happiness of that scene where Usopp finally joins the Straw Hats is then juxtaposed with his sad backstory. Seems like all of our characters have a sad backstory. And it turns out that Usopp watched his mom die because she was sick. But one thing that Usopp said that really intrigued me in this flashback, he said, "There's a legendary medicine. It can cure any sickness." Now this might just be a child's bedtime story that you tell to make him feel better about family members being sick. However, all legends have some grain of truth that started them in the first place. Wonder if that's foreshadowing for the future. We'll just have to wait and see. Usopp just crying. "I don't care if I'm silly. I do dream. I am the son of a pirate." Mary explaining, perhaps out of his loneliness, he continued to shout it out after his mother's death, in the hopes that one day his father's pirate ship would be at the shore. One day he would come back for them. The villagers say that lie of his also contains his wish. As someone who lost his own parents in this village, he probably couldn't ignore you, seeing as the same happened to you. I ship him. Kaya and Usopp, just tie the knot already. And to end the episode, Kaya-san saying she's going to become a doctor because of her history with her illness. What a phenomenal episode. Again, it being a backstory episode, and you guys will tend to see that I do love the One Piece backstory episodes. That being said, episode 18 is next. Episode 18, the second in a row that has my S-tier certified Twitchy seal of approval. I am getting better at saying that, so don't drag me in the comments. First screenshot that I have is Luffy's ugly ass drawing of what will eventually become his pirate flag. Now Usopp saying, "Don't forget about me, the gifted artist." We know he likes to lie, so when he first said this, I didn't really believe him. But then, the next screenshot that I have a few seconds later in the episode, he draws a badass looking flag. He is a really good artist. But the flag he drew was with him being captain, not Luffy. Time to go back to the drawing board. And the famous icon for the Straw Hats has been created. It's pretty clean, simple yet effective. Simple shapes, skull and crossbones, and then the straw hats for the Straw Hat Pirates. I dig it. Alright, and then they get onto this island, they start seeing all kinds of hybrid wildlife. Apparently the lore behind the island, one pirate's face suddenly changed into a boar's face, and another's mustache stretched out and strangled him like snakes. Now we've only seen one individual so far in the One Piece universe that's kind of anthropomorphic. That being Mary last episode. I'm wondering if they start off as anthropomorphic or they get turned into an anthropomorphic being. I'm not quite sure, but this specific episode had me thinking that they transform from humans into those anthropomorphic beings. We'll see. Zoro just sleeping anywhere he damn well pleases. A rabbit snake, a chicken wolf, a panda bat, a hippo gorilla, a zebra ostrich, a pig lion, a rhino kangaroo, a platypus sheep, and this weird bird with a truffle on its head or something. Those are some weird ass creatures. Enter Shrub Man. He's been alone on the island in this box for 20 years. Tough luck. But he did drop the lore that it's been 20 odd years since the start of the Great Pirate Era. This made me think, how long did it take for Gold Roger to obtain the One Piece, if he ever did? And then after he obtained it, how much time then until he was executed? In hindsight, I know that he didn't die over 20 years ago, thus starting the Great Pirate Era, but I would have known that while I was watching the episode, so moving on. The reason why I keep bringing up that the One Piece might actually not be a thing is because of this episode specifically. Gaimon saying, "The One Piece is already a dream within a dream beyond a legend." It would be pretty disappointing if the One Piece wasn't actually a treasure, but I'm sure I'm not even gonna know that at manga chapter 900. You gotta love how honorable Luffy is. Him saying, "Yeah, no question about it, it's yours," referring to the treasure at the top of the peak. Had this weird cow turtle behemoth thing? Okay. Luffy slingshotting up will never get old. And then when he said, "No, I don't want to toss it down," I knew immediately that it was empty, as depressing as that was, just because that's not in Luffy's character. Plus it was a complete 180 from what he had just told Gaimon. Ugh. And just to dedicate 20 years of your life to something that doesn't even exist, I can't even imagine what he's going through. Again, another line that could point to the One Piece being just a myth is Gaimon saying, "It happens all the time with treasures that have treasure maps. You go to look, but someone's already stolen it." That's how much of an ordeal treasure hunting is for pirates. Nature of the beast, I guess. You can wait all your life, or lose your life, and never touch treasure. Again, just with wasting 20 years of your life, that's gotta be so depressing. But then Luffy cheering him up, "You've made this much of a fool of yourself. All you have left now is the One Piece. Come be a pirate with us." Unfortunately, I have seen some of the later openings. I've since erased them from my mind for any type of spoilers, but it would have been cool to have Gaimon with us. He's not very useful other than the fact that he's got a tiny body, but it was a genuine offer from Luffy, so I'll give him the props for that. Ugh. And Gaimon saying, "How many years it's been since I trusted someone." He feels like the Tom Hanks equivalent of Cast It Away, but him declining the offer just because he wants to stay with his friends that are these weird hybrid animal creature things. And the resolution at the end of the episode, him saying, "Now that I know that there's no treasure, I somehow finally feel free." That was a roller coaster of an episode. Loved the lore drop and also the theory crafting that I was able to use from the weirdness that resulted from it, and that's why I gave it an S tier. All right, to the next episode. This episode also gets an S tier certified Twitchy seal of approval, but this one hurt me more than any of the other episodes that I've seen up until this point. Kid Zoro looks like a punk, but he's still cool, even as a child. Kuina nails Zoro in the middle of the face. Don't have enough swords there, Zoro. You just got 2. Damn. The winner is Kuina, with 2,000 wins and 0 losses. I can respect that type of perseverance from Zoro, but that is a lot of losses. Her father saying, "As she is now, I cannot let her inherit the dojo." That's just tough. I can see both her father's perspective and also Kuina's perspective. When it comes to biology, males are just typically stronger than females, despite the techniques that may or may not be adopted by swordsmen. And after she hears that, she then goes to the family heirloom cabinet, the Wado Ichimonji. Whew. I had a feeling it was a little bit special just because of the different color that I mentioned in my first video. Go ahead and take a look at that if you don't believe me. But I didn't know it was as rare or as powerful or as beautifully crafted as it was when I first saw it. I'll get more into that for my 3rd or my 4th video where that is brought up. The duel between Kuina and Zoro, every blow felt impactful. And when she finally had him pinned down with her sword to his throat, the cold sweat beads dropping down from Zoro's face, I was holding my breath, and I think I'm still holding my breath to this day. Kuina saying, "You see, when girls grow up, they get weaker than men. But even still, I want to be the world's greatest swordsman too." And one reason why this episode hit me in the feels so much is Zoro doesn't care about the gender roles. He just sees her as he says, his goal. Boy this, girl that. Are you gonna say that stuff too when I beat you one day? You act like none of it is skill. You're insulting all the hard training I've been doing. Everything that Zoro said was what she needed to hear. Because up until that point in her life, she was told, no, you can't do it. You're a girl. Unfortunately, that might have been what led to her death. And then they have the promise handshake with the moon in the background, Pokemon Rivals style. Loved it. Zoro training in his ass off. Ugh. In the face of their friend telling Zoro that Kuina died, that is just harrowing. Kuina's dad not even looking at Zoro as Zoro sits behind him in the dojo. Him saying, "People are such fragile things, Zoro." And then through his tears, Zoro asks, "Let me have that sword. I'm gonna get stronger for her too. I'm gonna get strong enough that my name reaches to heaven." Oh, that line broke me when I saw it. And then I was broken further when he says, "I'm gonna be the world's strongest swordsman." I just want to give him a hug. And then her dad saying, "I leave Kuina's spirit and dreams with you," thus giving him her sword and her dream to carry on. Beautiful. Okay, so he trained 8 years before he left the dojo, and then to end the episode, he's sitting up against the fridge. I guess it feels good on his back. Without a doubt, my favorite episode of the series up until that point. It still remains one of my favorites to this day. There's a couple other better moments, I feel, but as an overall backstory episode, it's S tier, for sure. All right, and then into the next and last episode of the batch. All right, episode 20, the perfect episode after how depressing last episode was. Starting off with Yosaku lying on the deck of the Going Merry, Johnny saying, in the end, his teeth fell out. And the reason why they're on the Going Merry to begin with is because of the cannonball that Usopp shot at the rock formation that they were hiding behind, taking momentary cover. Usopp's and Luffy's faces are just adorable as they're trying not to bawl their eyes out, unsuccessfully I might add. Luckily, Nami knows her way around a pirate ship, so she told them to go get the limes, and her revealing that it's actually scurvy that's afflicting him. They're just Jack LaLanne juicing all of these limes into this guy's mouth. Oh goodness. And magically they're up and dancing around. And just kidding, he's actually feeling the effects of scurvy more so than he thought. Enter the Baratie. I am so excited to talk about this in my next video. Okay, and then we're introduced to Bronze Gill Thunder over here. And because of their interaction with Bronze Gill Thunder, Luffy crashed through the top of the Baratie, and he's told by Captain Zeph that he has to work there for a year. Luffy's face as he's saying a year? One of the most comical screenshots from One Piece thus far. Luffy then saying, please reduce it to 1 week. I've decided, no, make it 3 weeks. Zeph is having none of his shit. Luffy saying, I've patiently waited 10 years to become a pirate. I mentioned that a little bit earlier in my episode review, but this was the first time that it was mentioned to my knowledge. Oh, so Zeph saying, or you can leave one of your legs here. I think he was trying to do an intimidation factor on Luffy because to my knowledge, I don't think that they can do leg transplants in this world. Who knows? I know we'll get to see Chopper eventually and he'll be the ship doc. I don't know what sort of limitations he has though. If I had to guess, I'd say it's based on real world medical surgeries, for lack of a better term. And then after Bronze Gill Thunder incorrectly guessed the labeled wine, he throws a fit, where Sanji responds, can money satisfy your hunger? Super foreshadowing there. And then to end the episode, the last screenshot that I have is Sanji saying, don't waste food. Serious ass look on his face. Alright, and with that, that concludes my second One Piece review video. Want to thank you if you've watched this far. I'm Mr. Twitchy. See you later.